Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cornerstone's webinar series. Today we have Delta Dental with us. A few things before we get started here. If you have any questions, just a reminder, there is a question box that you can type those questions in. I'll be monitoring them throughout the presentation, and I'll address them at the Q&A at the end of the webinar, so please place all questions in those question boxes. I'm Rob Ilias with Cornerstone, Business Development Manager up in Northwest Ohio. This is my contact screen. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you may have that are not answered during the presentation, and I can get those answers for you. As mentioned today, we have Delta Dental on the line. Kim Hairston is with us, and at this time, I will give her control.
Ooh, I like that picture. Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
So, let me move over here. Okay, it's not letting me share.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, let's get started. Well, first of all, thank you for your time today. Trying to start this. Here we go. Thank you for your time today. I have to say, when Lindsay reached out to me to present our Benefit Manager Toolkit, was a little excited about that. Normally, when we present the Benefit Manager Toolkit, or as we call it, BMT, it's more group centered. So it's usually training for new groups, kind of walking them through the toolkit to show the various tasks that they can do within there. So to have agents wanting to learn more about it, love it, love it. So what can you do in the Benefit Manager Toolkit? So you can get real time, of course, eligibility information 24/7 anytime you want. It allows the group to take control of their eligibility. So basically, that means they can enter new hires, term members, or modify information for members if they get married and have a name change or an address change. They're able to do that within the portal themselves. You can also download a dentist directory in a printable format for anyone who needs. You may not want to use our Find the Dentist tool online. There's some people that, they just don't want to get online. So you do have the capability to get a printable format of a dentist directory in the areas that they choose. Basically, it just allows them the ability to streamline their benefit management process. So one thing I want to talk about, which many of you know when you're implementing a new group with us, is we ask for a signed HIPAA agreement. This is required, of course, because having access to BNT, you also will have access to PHI. So if a group declines to sign, they're not going to be granted the access to BMT. I actually, believe it or not, most groups will sign, but I did have a group recently that did decline to sign, and the agent had to go in and pull the monthly invoices for them. And after about 2 months, the group said, you know what? I want to revisit that HIPAA agreement. So they ended up going back in and signing and agreeing. And I was able to grant them access, and now they pull their own invoices and everybody's happy. So what's a BMT admin? Well, there's two types of administrators. There's one that is the client administrator. This is someone within the group that they choose to be their BMT admin. Usually that is an HR manager. For agencies or an agent, they also get an administrator. Each agency will choose an administrator. Or if you're an independent agent, you are your administrator. and you will get access to any groups that you sell. For agencies, they can actually have multiple administrators, but agents can only be assigned to one administrator. So, doesn't not all agencies have multiple admins. I believe Ryan Carroll is Cornerstone's admin, so he can go in and give user access to anybody in the agency that needs it to each specific group. So let's talk about user access. So there's two different types. There's the delegate that has basically they have the same access as the admin. They can do everything the admin can do with the one exception. They cannot manage the admin. So they're not able to disable the admin's access. They can't, update any access for the admin. Can't do any of that. So, but they can basically do everything else. They can assign user access to other people within the group. Also, when new subclients are added to a group, a delegate as well as the admin will automatically receive access to those new subclients. Users. So users access is a little more limited. The admin or the delegate can actually pick and choose what access a user will have within the portal. Typically for groups, they will, for someone in payroll, they want to give that person the ability to pull the billing invoice. So they can actually assign someone in payroll user access within the portal, but limit that access to only pulling billing invoices. Any new subclients, of course, that are added to a group, you're going to have to go in and give users, you have to manually give them access to that subclient, simply because, again, you pick and choose their access. Any changes or updates can be made to the users by the delegate or administrator. So what exactly can you do in BMT? I kind of went over that in the beginning, but just to recap, you can add members and dependents, pull billing invoices, download provider directories. You can update, modify member information. You can also access the overage dependent notifications that groups will get each month when applicable. And you can access plan details. So that's BMT in a nutshell. I do want to move over to actually doing a demo for you. But before we get started on the demo, does anyone have any questions so far?
I don't see anything yet.
Okay, okay. So let's move to my demo. Now, I will tell you that this demo will be limited in the fact that I'm not going to be able to actually pull an invoice. Those aren't going to be available. This is our sales demo, so it's a little different. So when you're in the portal, let's say you've got a new hire. So we're going to add a member. You get here, you get to select which subclient you want to add them to. We're going to go ahead and add them to this first one. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to add a social, but of course, as you see, it says no dashes or spaces. This is the same rule you'll follow when you're trying to access a member's details. Never use a dash, the dashes in the social. Just put the group number or the member number, member ID, which is their social, without dashes. Okay. So here you see how every field is either green or red. The required fields, of course, are in red. So that's what we're going to focus on. Oh, sorry. Now, address is green, but I always tell groups when we're going through this, it's always good to add an address. I'm not going to do that here just for the sake of time, but um, always add an address. There are times that if they go to an out-of-network provider, those checks will go directly to them. So you want to make sure those addresses are correct. So we're going to save change. Now Edward's in there, but Edward also has a spouse. So we're going to add Edward's spouse. Same thing. For dependents, it's going to ask you the member type. So we're going to add spouse. It's either going to be spouse or not a spouse. So, and when adding members or dependents, you don't have to worry about the address. That's already included once you add the member. All right, so that's basically adding a member and adding a dependent. If you ever want to go in and view a member that's already added, here's where you're going to go. So you're just going to enter the social, like I said, without any dashes, and you can pull them up. That's the easy way. You can also pull them up by adding their name, searching by name. And I always say when you're doing the search for members, either do member number or search by name. You don't have to do both. You go in, here's where you can terminate, transfer. Let's say we want to transfer him to a different subclient. So easy peasy. We're going to give the effective date. Because let's say, you know, what we didn't enter, he was, and I've had this happen before too. A group might enter them on the one-time load spreadsheet under a specific subgroup, and they got it wrong. It's easy to fix. You just go in here. I always check everybody. These are if you were to add an attribute, which would not be required in this instance, and complete the transfer. It's, as you can see, it's really easy to navigate. It's really easy to get around. Let's see. Let's go. Say Edward wants to know more about benefits. You can go to benefits inquiry, gives you the ability to expand. It'll show all the coverage information for each one, procedure codes, different categories. Down here, you can see your max and deductibles. So it's pretty much like the summary, a little more detailed than a summary. a lot more detailed than a summary. Under reports, this is where you're going to pull your overage dependent notices. So you could actually, a group could go in and do all subgroups. Say they get a notification. This will show all the different notifications that were sent, and they're able to get the specific information. Down here is where all the subscriber name, dependent name, and dependent date of birth that's about to turn. Here's the dentist directory that I was speaking about. I always tell everyone when I'm going over these trainings with the group to pull by Premier, because Premier will also list the PPO dentist as well. If you only go PPO, you're not going to get the Premier dentist. Now, one thing I will also say about this directory, so you can pull, I always suggest pulling by zip code, and you can do multiple zip codes. So I'm going to do 45242 and 45240. Create either through a PDF or an Excel version. And the dentist directory looks like this. Now, one thing I will say is when you do the directory, it's not going to list PPO or Premier next to the dentist's name like you would get in the Find the Dentist tool. So I always tell them, you know, this is a good resource to have, but to actually, if they want PPO specific, I would go back and pull just the PPO dentist or steer them towards the Find the Dentist tool. It's a lot more information there for them. So under summary of changes, they're able to view transactions that were made within, let's say, within each subgroup. So let's say some changes were made. You're able to see that today I added a subscriber, I enrolled a dependent, and then I transferred that to subscriber. Just kind of gives you like tells you who did it. So if, you know, let's say a delegate goes in and adds a new hire, and you want to go in and see, well, I don't remember entering that person. You're able to go into this screen here and it will show you who did what and what exactly they did. Here's where we pull the billing invoices. Um, Again, I'm not going to be able to actually generate an invoice, but what they can do here, they can pull up their invoices. They can, I always say, you've got the vision, you've got the dental, but in those cases, I would always pull by the dental group number because it's going to be a consolidated report. So you're going to have dental and vision on the bill anyway. So it really doesn't matter. I always just say go with the first one, which is typically dental. Once they generate that invoice, they can go up to my reports. Here is where the invoice will display, and they're able to get the billing details. When I'm doing a BMT training, and we usually wait for till the first invoice is available. I will go in and I will show them some tips and tricks on how to do a quick pull so you can have the billing details and the PDF version of that invoice all in one shot. And um, that's pretty much it. So that's the BMT portal in a nutshell. I mean, that's just a quick overview. Do you guys have any questions at all regarding what I've shown you? I know I kind of went through it, but
Nothing that I'm seeing yet. Wait a minute or so, see if anybody pops a question in there. If not, everybody is more than welcome to reach out to me, and I can reach out to Kim and get any questions answered.
and the other thing to this too is that if you ever have a new group, um, and you would like to schedule a BMT training, account managers are always available to do that. So you just let us know. And a lot of times if I get quite a few questions regarding invoices or, adding a new hire or request to add a new hire, um, I will kind of go back and say, hey, I would love to jump on, do a quick training if they're available. Those trainings are pretty helpful.
And Kim, this is available for groups of all sizes, correct?
Yes.
Well, at this time, I'm not seeing any questions come through. Did you have anything else that you'd like to speak about, or should we just end?
I mean, that's it. I was kind of BMT focused.
Sure.
But yeah, if you guys have any issues, questions, please feel free to reach out. No problem. Jumping in and helping a group out with navigating BMT or whatever else is needed.
That sounds great. Well, at this time, I thank everybody for their attention and thank Delta Dental, and I wish everyone a wonderful day.
Thank you so
Take care.
much. You guys have an awesome day too. Bye-bye.